So now we come to the topic of Pratyahar. One of the 8 limbs of Patanjali Yoga system. It begins with Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar. What exactly is Pratyahar? Now, first of all, it must be made clear that these 8 limbs should be practiced simultaneously. I mean, on the same day, on the same practice. It's not that one begins with Yam and then it's finished and then we go to the next. It's not like steps, ascending steps, but rather limbs with the yoga system in the middle with this 8 spokes, one can say. Like you have a cycle tire, you have the middle portion and there's these spokes going out, holding the entire system in a circular form, like if we can simply imagine that. So Pratyahar comes as a means that one has to gradually distance oneself, the yogi or yogini, who are serious and have committed themselves to the practice of yoga, should take this limb Pratyahar very seriously, because that is exactly a transition from the physical aspects of the practice. The first 4, let us say, are the physical aspects. And some great teachers of yoga, acharyas we call them, have separated this system of yoga into 2, Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga. Now, Hatha Yoga consists of the first 4, where mostly the physical aspect is very much in focus. Yam is our responsibility of action towards the society. Niyam are actions disciplining our habits and qualities and attributes. Asana are different physical postures to keep the energy, vitality flowing through the entire body and system. Pranayam is the breathing system, controlling the breathing system. Actually, pranayam does not mean to control, rather it means to expand. And this prana is vitality, the vitality of life, prana. Prana also means it's one of the 5 main air circulations within the body. And prana, this particular air circulation is around the torso, around the heart, around the breast. It moves there. And the soul is carried in this current of the air movement. Soul. So therefore, prana is also synonymous with life. And so when the prana leaves, that means the soul has left the body, and therefore one dies. Death is signified by the fact that the soul leaves the body. And it always leaves the body floating and riding on the air current known as prana. So pranayam is one limb which expands the strength and force of the air system, which is always circulating within the body. And that sees to it that our body remains, even when sleeping, very alert. The body not, but the mind. Mind is alert. Mind is not going deep into the sleep or the slumbering state where everything is in a state of forgetfulness. A yogi must also in sleep practice yoga. This is a higher stage, of course. What does pratyahara mean? After asana, pranayama comes pratyahara. Pratyahara means to distance oneself from attachment to material things. Unless one is able to detach oneself from these attachments to material things, the mind is not peaceful. Because the next limb of yoga is dhyan. Dhyan means meditation. Meditation means to withdraw the mind from all other thoughts and concentrate on the Atma, the spirit soul. That is dhyan. So pratyahar is a step and a yogic practice which frees the mind, makes the mind free from different attachments. Because as long as there are attachments there will always be thoughts about them. Even if we don't want to think, the mind on a spontaneous basis will immediately give some kind of thought about those things we are attached to. This is normal. Nothing bad with that. However, when we are to practice dhyan, meditation, then some attachments are detrimental. Now, pratyahara doesn't mean per se complete rejection of this material world and material objects. That would be too naive. Yoga does not teach that kind of practice. Yoga is saying that one should be free from attachment and not from the object. We have to understand this a little better. Food is a necessity, bed is a necessity, clothes are necessities, the roof over the head is a necessity. All these are necessities that we cannot actually do without. However, what leads to attachment and entanglement is the possessiveness. This belongs to me, because as soon as I want to enjoy something, I can do so when I first make that object into my possession. So when I have something in my possession, and then I can enjoy it, exploit it as I want. Just take, for example, if something belongs to someone else, I can't have the same kind of enjoyment with that something else, belonging to someone else. But that which belongs to me, I am free to do what I want. So therefore, it is not the distancing oneself or freeing oneself from the object of the senses, rather, it is freeing oneself from attachment. I can deal, I can use everything that is necessary for my survival from this material world. But that does not mean I have to become first attached to it so that I can use it. Not at all. So Pratyahara also is the beginning of the philosophical understanding of the yoga system. Because after all, the yoga system is focused. The goal of yoga system is self-realization, to know who the real self is, Atma, Atma Gyan. As well as that's the internal goal of the yoga system. The external goal of yoga system is to uproot the cause of suffering. As long as there's suffering and attachment, these two will keep our mind engaged. And even if we try to disengage ourselves from these two energies, these two forces, we will find meditation to be a very difficult task. That means we may sit down to meditate and these thoughts will come and divert our attention. Or one feels very good and falls to sleep. That is not meditation. Meditation is gradually approaching a steadfast recognition, steadfast cognition of the true self or Atma. There are different coverings of the Atma which does not allow a person to take cognition of the soul. See, the soul cannot be experienced by any one of our senses. If that be the case, then what will allow us to take cognition of the soul? And that is our consciousness. The consciousness is the energy of the soul and therefore a part of the soul. They are non-different. However, if the consciousness is busy and engaged and entangled in matter and material things, then it will not allow us to take cognition, to take notice of the soul. It cannot, because it creates a fog that covers the soul from our perception. So, Pratyahara is a practice where we gradually learn to give up these attachments and also control the mind to withdraw itself from these attachments and from other thoughts. So the first step in Pratyahara is because, as we said, all the different limbs should be practiced on a regular basis, not one after the other, but all together as much as one can. Naturally, the practice of dhyan or meditation will not be in the beginning for long periods of time. Because there's too much of disturbance and the mind is still attached and cannot withdraw its entanglement, withdraw its possessive mentality towards matter and the outside world. So the Pratyahara aspect or limb of yoga is that when meditating, after one has found a perfect sitting position where one can sit for a long time without being disturbed by the body, where the breathing is regular, so that even the breathing does not disturb us, because when we become conscious of our intaking breath and outgoing breath, then our mind is diverted in its attention from the Atma or soul towards breathing. And therefore, the limb which is known as pranayam teaches us how one can withdraw one's attention from breathing, which does it automatically. So the first step in meditation, in Pratyahara, is to allow the thoughts, and they will come. The thoughts will flow. Have you seen a conveyor belt which moves continuously? Like the current of the river. It's a continuous flow. Similarly, the mind's thoughts is a continuous flow. And in Pratyahara, we learn to not get attached to either good thoughts or bad thoughts. Absolutely make no judgment, never pass judgment over any thought, but be simply a witness. One has to simply be an observer without any emotional attachment for the thoughts. Because in the very beginning, the yoga system is saying the reason why one, in order to uproot suffering, one of the main causes is that the mind always moves to the past, and we remember things from the past. We remember impressions from the past. And in that way, the mind becomes also emotionally involved, because things of the past makes us relive those experiences that we have in the past, which are dead and gone actually. But by giving it an emotional content, these past events and occurrences, like a phoenix rising out of the ashes of the past dead. And that will again divert our attention. So, Patanjali is saying that in order to reach that point, so you can practice meditation, one has to, what is called, stop the mind from always going to the past. So in Pratyahara, one consciously analyzes on what I am attached to and why am I attached to it. Why is something so important? Is it at all important? What is most important? So when we come to the most important, then we realize that the yoga system is most important because it is a system and not but per se only a teaching, not per se a set of rules that one follows. To follow yoga system means to live yoga. Unless you're willing to live according to the yoga system, according to the tenets of yoga and replace this yoga system with the lifestyle I have been leading so far, which has brought me suffering, I will not be able to practice proper yoga. I will also not be able to take advantage of this particular paradigm. So Pratyahar, in the middle, so to speak, between the physical aspects of yoga system and the mental and spiritual aspects of the yoga system, is a very important part of this yoga system. And in Pratyahar, we have to start analyzing why we are attached to certain things. Are these necessities? They are called prayojan. Prayojan means necessities. Food is a necessary thing. Oxygen is a necessary thing. Water is a necessary thing. But there are so many other things which are not really necessary. Yet, I am attached to them because I have this possessive attitude towards these objects. So Pratyahar means to give up this possessive attitude. Unless we give up this possessive attitude, even towards our body, we think that the body belongs to me. This is my body. Actually, it's not true. The truth is that this body is a gift that I have received from my mother. This is the verdict of the Vedas. The verdict of the Vedas is that the body doesn't even belong to me. The only thing which belongs to me, if one can say, is my hope. No one can take away my hope. And what is that hope? The hope that one day I shall be able to see my real self, the spiritual self, Atma, face to face, and recognize through this my divine nature. Good?